Good morning, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Hope you're having a fantastic day. It is Wednesday. That is right. Today, I'm going to a class on angel investing presented by Jason Calacanis. He wrote a book. I like it. Where is it? Here it is. It's called Angel. Discusses angel investing. And I was thinking about this, and because of that, I think we should talk about what to do with your money today. The Drawing Dead vlog. Welcome. If you all have not checked out the vlog, check it out. It's a lot of fun. So, what do you do with your money? Well, first things first, when you don't have a whole lot of money, let's say you are a young person like I was 18 years old, I had $100 to my name. Well, you keep it in your pocket. Obviously, you should get a bank account and put some of your money in the bank. It's very important to do your best to save money and also do the best you can of keeping track of your money. And this is especially true when you don't have a whole lot of it, because you need to make sure you know where your leaks are taking place, right? Like, say you find out that you are spending, I don't know, X number of dollars a month on digital downloads and video games, right? It's probably not that good of a use of your resources, especially when they're very limited. If you're making a ton of money, if you want to spend $50 on coffee and $100 on video games or whatever, it's probably not so bad, right? So it's very important to try to keep track of your expenses right off of the bat. Doesn't Jason Calacanis play the high roller events? Every once in a while, I think he does. I think he plays mostly high-stakes cash games for fun. He lives in San Francisco, and there's a vibrant poker scene there. It's actually where I met him. I was at a book launch party for Phil Hellmuth's book called Poker Brat. I introduced myself because I enjoyed his podcast, and we ended up talking for like 2 hours that night. It was a lot of fun. I met Elon Musk there. I thanked him for trying to save us humans. It was a good, fun night. Anyway, now I have piles of angel investments, and we're going to hang out today. So anyway, when you have no money, you need to try to figure out where your money is going. I remember whenever I first started playing poker, when I got decent at it, I was still working at McDonald's, I believe, and one of the guys there... No, you know what? This is not my poker winnings. This is my Magic the Gathering winnings. Another one of the guys there also played Magic, and he would win. He was like a good Magic player. But every time he won $20, he would go and buy a new CD. Back then, CDs existed. That's aging myself, or dating myself a little bit. So he would go spend his $20 on CDs. I would spend my $20 on reinvesting in better cards and whatnot, and also turning it into an investment, right? And he ended up with no money, but a bunch of CDs. I ended up with a very big collection of Magic cards that I eventually, sold and turned over again and again to make more money. So you definitely want to make sure you are putting your money away and saving it, or at least doing something with it. I do know there are a few online sites now that are very reputable that have good savings accounts. For example, there's one called wealthfront.com where it's also an investment site, but you could also just open a savings account. I think they pay like 2.4% interest or something like that. And realize once you get $10,000, they're just giving you a free $240 or whatever it is a year to have your money there, as opposed to any other regular bank account that gives you 0.001% interest. So would you rather get a free $250 a year or not a free $250 a year? Well, clearly you'd rather get the free money, right? So when you are also young, and, well, not necessarily when you're young, whenever you have no real resources, understand almost certainly the most important thing you can do is invest in yourself. Everyone wants to try to figure out how to make their money work for them, but first you have to learn to make yourself work for you. I naturally was lucky and fell into this. Whenever I was a young kid, I would play chess. I wasn't very good, but I studied, right? I studied and I got, certainly not world class or anything, but good. I could beat all the kids in my school, and it was great. And I got good by buying a book and learning from the book. Right? Whenever I got into poker, I did the exact same thing. Before I ever played for significant money, I spent, $150, $300, something like that on books. And this was when I was working for an $8 an hour job or something like that. So that shows you the dedication. I was willing to work for, 32 hours? Is that right? I was willing to work 32 hours just to get education, right? And then I spent the time learning and studying for those things, and I made good use of the education, right? So that is very important. So you definitely want to invest in yourself. PP for life. Just bought the bundle. I suppose you mean the World Series bundle we have. What order should you watch the videos? Find the videos that are most beneficial and discuss the things that you think you have problems with. Like there are videos on deep stacked, shallow stacked, mindset, navigating the World Series, etc., etc. So check all that out. Frogman Matt said you won a tournament this weekend. Great job. Congratulations. So yeah, the World Series of Poker bundle. Speaking of ways to invest in yourself, go to pokercoaching.com/WSOP bundle. There we have, oh my gosh, it's such a value. I wish I had this whenever I was young. Essentially, you're going to get loads and loads of content discussing how to improve your skills and also how to navigate the World Series of Poker to the best of your ability. We also have a single table satellite video there that discusses tips and tricks that show how I made $100,000 one summer just playing single table satellites. There's videos of me reviewing a win where one of my students won $1.3 million on Party Poker. We go through there. It's going to be his first World Series of Poker, which actually inspired this series. And he hasn't played a ton of live poker, so he's getting ready. And that's sort of what this series is about. So anyway, you can check that out at pokercoaching.com/WSOP bundle. And it's what I wish I had whenever I first started going to the World Series of Poker. I presented a webinar on 5 tips for going to the World Series of Poker, and after I got through the webinar, after I finished presenting, I was sitting there thinking, like, man, I messed up 4 out of the 5 of these on my first year. I sure wish someone told me not to screw these things up. Any advice on how to improve your game and ignore variance? I mean, understand, variance doesn't really exist whenever you get to the long run. So what do? Play a lot and get to the long run. Everyone who complains about luck simply does not play enough poker. Or they don't understand the math behind the game. Volume cures variance. It really does. If you play no tournaments, well, the variance is going to seem insane. If you play lots of tournaments, the variance is going to seem like nothing. And your chart will kind of go straight up. When I used to play sit and goes, for example, my chart pretty much went straight up. Sure, I had winning and losing months every once in a while, but every year when I played sit and goes as a young kid, when I played 3,000 a month, a lot of volume, right? I had 2 losing months a year. And they were roughly break even. And then every other month was either somewhere between like plus 20K and plus 40K. And that means the graph's going to go all the way straight up. But that's because there was a lot of volume being played, right? If you don't play a lot of volume, if you just look at any 10-game sample, like who knows what can happen, right? All right, so when you have no money, put your money in a bank account. Make sure you're getting interest on it. You might as well go ahead and set up a good bank account. Like I said, Wealthfront has a 2-point-something% account that's free. So, I mean, that's good, right? You might as well collect the free money. There may be better ones out there. I don't know. And then also invest in yourself, right? You need to improve your skills. If you have no money, it kind of implies you have no skills. And that's not necessarily true, but it very easily could be true. And if you do have skills, make sure you make good use of those skills, right? Like, what are my skills? I'm not good at much of anything besides playing poker and teaching poker. So, I play poker and I teach poker, right? Like, say you're a good electrician, right? Do electrical work, get money. You'll find that, especially whenever you are starting off, if you somehow have these skills, because that's just what you like doing, well, maybe that's what you need to be doing. Any news on how you can get poker coaching swag? You can go to pokercoaching.com or support at pokercoaching.com and we'll send you a patch. But we do not have any gear at the moment because that is a whole mess that I do not want to deal with. That said, maybe we'll figure it out in the future. Here's a poker coaching patch, by the way. If you are a poker coaching member, send us an email, support at pokercoaching.com, and we will send you a few of these. You can wear them at tournaments. Then you can wear whatever clothes you want. You don't have to wear the clothes that I think you want. You get to wear whatever you want, and that's great. Fred says, used to complain about variance a lot. We all did. But you started to focus on things you could do better and, the things that you can control. What type of sit and goes would I recommend for a player trying to build a bankroll? Whichever ones are most profitable for you, right? How do you keep enthusiasm towards your hobbies when you hit a rough patch? Understand what you signed up for, right? Whenever you sign up for poker, understand that there is variance involved. I play Magic the Gathering sometimes, at least I used to before I had kids. And you'd go on downswings, inevitably. And it was rough. It's like, man, why am I doing this? And that was like purely a hobby, right? And I would often just take a break. I didn't need to be doing that right then. I wasn't. If you're not enjoying it, and you don't want to be doing it, if it's your hobby, well, it doesn't sound like a very good hobby, does it? So do things you want to be doing and enjoy the experience, because you only get one experience, right? Let's see. Any advice to winning player who hasn't played live before? Get in there and try it out. You're going to be nervous. You're going to have to get some experience, but that'll be a-okay. I mentioned on Monday that you were a true gambler for mailing your cashier's check to the Rio. Is that a risky way to register? You never thought until I said something. I'm sure it's not. I said it's risky because I have not had good experience with casino cages across the board. Very often they'll lose the money. Like I said, first time I wired money to the Rio, exactly where they told me to wire it, they didn't have it. And that was like all my money. And them just not having my money and saying, I don't know where it went for a week. And then me not having the money for a while was very frustrating. So I've always just had better experience going there with the cashier's check in my hand, doing it a day ahead of time, taking care of that, and then there's just no problem. And also, like I said, take enough cash for 1 or 2 buy-ins so that you are still able to play even if things go poorly. All right, what happens now once you have some money? Let's say we're grinding poker. Poker's going well. We're making a little bit of money. Let's say we have, I don't know, $10,000 and we need $2,000 for our regular game. Well, first things first, if you only have $10,000, you should probably continue going up in stakes, right? That said, say you do have a proper bankroll, something like 80 buy-ins, or 100 buy-ins. You don't actually need all of those in cash, right? So you should probably take some of that money and invest it. You want to make it in investments that are very liquid. You do not want to invest in things that are illiquid or things that have very high fees associated to making them liquid. For example, gold and silver, right? These things are generally liquid, but they have high fees associated to buying and selling. If you go to a store and buy it and then sell it, they're going to charge you like 10 or 15 or 20%, and that's ridiculous, right? So you probably want to be investing in ETFs on the internet. Again, I keep saying Wealthfront. This is because this is what I do. I'm telling you all exactly what I do with my money. The money I need is in a Wealthfront account that is essentially invested in the entire market. And that's going to make, 4, 5, 6, 7% per year. And obviously there are going to be swings to it. That's fine. But you want to keep your money in something that is at least relatively stable, right? Like the stock market, if it crashes, it's going to go down 20 or 30%. And if it goes up, it's going to go up 20 or 30%, right? It's not like that big of a deal. But there will not be big swings to it, and you can turn around and sell it like a day later, right? Everyone's saying cryptocurrencies. I know quite a few of the people on the internet got hosed by the people on the internet saying, invest all your money in cryptocurrencies. I've had so many people send me emails saying, I was winning at poker, but then I put all my spare money into cryptocurrencies, and then they crashed, and then I lost all my money. Or I lost 50% of my money. And that's brutal. It's absolutely brutal. And that's why you want to put it in something that is very liquid, and Bitcoin may or may not be liquid depending on your situation. And you want to put your money in something that is relatively stable. Because if you just lose half your money, that is detrimental, right? Richie says the prudent thing, put 1% of your money. Yeah, I think 1% is fine. I think that's certainly reasonable. So gold is not a good investment? I don't think it's a good investment when you don't have much money. When you have $10,000, I do not think you need to be putting money in things that you cannot turn around and sell quickly. Right? You want to put money into things that you can liquidize quickly. All right, let's say now we actually have more than enough money. Let's say our bankroll for our game requires us to have 50K. And let's say we just have 200K because we've been at this. We've been grinding for a long time, right? Now what do we do? Well, now we need to actually start investing in things that may be a little bit less liquid, but offer potential higher returns or more consistent long-term returns. Like real estate, right? I have 2 rental apartments that I bought. Every time I won a tournament, I'd buy an apartment that I would live in for a while, then eventually rent out. And that's been going well. Every month you get a little paycheck. I have a management company that deals with everything. All I have to do is reply to emails once every month saying, yes, this person can live here, right? Essentially, I do nothing and I just get a paycheck. And that is very, very nice. I know one of my poker heroes. He essentially retired from poker. He's older. He's like 55 or 60. And he bought 50 condominiums in Arizona, something like that. Maybe not exactly 50, but something like that. And each one gives him something like $700 or $800 a month. So you can do the math. 800 times 50 is that 40K a month? 40K a month he gets. He had enough money to buy all these relatively cheap places for cash. And ideally, the places probably won't lose so much money. And they'll hold on to their value. Worst case is getting paid 40K a month to hang out, right? And that is highly valuable. Don't the management companies skim too much money? I know on mine they charge me, I think, $60 a month for an $800 rent, roughly. I mean, these are not fancy places. They're like 100K apartments, right? But anyway, do they skim money? Yes, they do. They do take money, but you're paying them to not have a headache. I don't want a headache. I'm not trying to have another job, right? My father-in-law has a few apartments, and quite often he manages them himself, and there's just always something going on. And I don't want anything going on. I don't want to touch them. All right. What else? You can invest in businesses, right? You can do this by buying stocks. You can do this by investing in startup companies. That's what I am doing today whenever I'm going to the class with Jason Calacanis here in Manhattan. I've invested in, 30 or 40 small businesses. Not huge amounts in each one, right? I'm trying to essentially do a very diversified approach of finding someone whose opinion I trust. I do trust Jason's opinion on this. He seems to be an expert. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. Seems to be, though, through all of my vetting. And also, I'm essentially piggybacking on what he does, right? So I found an expert who has good deal flow, who will also allow you to invest a small amount of money in each company, like 3K or 5K or 10K, something like that. And if you do that, and these things, on average, are either going to go to zero, because most starting companies fail, or they're going to go to tons. It's kind of like playing a poker tournament, right? You have lots of variance, but if you put in volume, that cures the variance. So make lots and lots of small investments, and then some of them will go up, some will go down. Across the board, they think they make about 20-ish% per year. 20-ish% per year is obviously way better than the small percentage you're going to get from other more conservative forms of investment. But very often, whenever you are making riskier investments, the potential ROI is higher. Not necessarily the guaranteed ROI, but the potential ROI. Anthony says, his friend told us that statistically you can't beat poker and it's totally luck. What do you think of his theory? Well, fortunately you have facts that will tell you that that is not true. Let's see. What other ways can you invest money once you have too much? You can, again, just put it in retirement accounts, right? Every year I try to put in whatever the most of my money I can into retirement, right? That's going to give you good long-term stability. Also, you can buy pieces of poker players. I do not recommend this to almost anyone because most people don't do it right. Again, if you're going to do it, you want to be very diversified. You do not want to be doing things like buying 50% of one player in one tournament, assuming you don't want swings, right? Again, this all kind of presumes you don't really want to have giant swings to your net worth. If you have 500K and you lose 250K of it, is that bad? If the answer to that is yes, then you probably don't want to be investing in ways where you can lose that. So very often I think you want to be investing in a lot of people for small amounts of money. And if you vet the players well, if you manage it well, it will be highly beneficial. Very often you'll get 20-ish% per year if you do that right, or 20-ish% per investment, which you can compound very quickly, right? Let's see. REITs are like a mutual fund of real estate. Some are, some aren't. Depends on the structure of them, right? Let's see. Once you have too much money, you don't believe it's possible to have too much money. I mean too much money beyond what you can realistically use easily today, right? And let's say you play 5-10 no limit. If you have 50K, if you're playing it live, I mean that's a small bankroll but manageable. So essentially, any money you have beyond 50K, it's perfectly fine to be putting it in liquid investments. Then once you get above something like 150K, you really just don't need 150K. So all of that can be start to get loaded into other investments. Ken says that you execute evictions in those 40 condos in Phoenix. Yeah, well, that's how it goes sometimes. One time I had someone trash my apartment in Florida. They just completely destroyed it. I say they didn't completely destroy it. They just made a heck of a mess out of it. And it costs a decent amount of money to clean it up. But those are the breaks, right? If you make like $8K a year off of a place and you have to pay $3,000 a year to fix it each year, that's clearly not as good of a deal. All right, what else can you do? Well, continuously, you always want to make sure you are investing in yourself. It's very important you continue progressing. So many poker players out there became stagnant at some point in their career. They got good at poker, they won some money, and then they stopped winning so much money. Their win rates declined, and then they stopped improving. And then they very often become losing players or break-even players. And imagine you just break even for a year because you don't actually have an edge what you think you do. That's essentially a year wasted of your life. How much is a year of your life worth? A year of your life is worth a ton. And you don't want to do that. So you have to make sure you are continuously improving. You do that by studying. And like take myself, for example, right? I've studied poker a ton, but I've also studied other things a ton. I've studied finance a decent amount. Not a ton, but a decent amount. To the point that I realize I don't know a whole lot. And the smart thing to do when you are not a highly skilled professional is to just invest in everything. I've talked to many, many great hedge fund managers out there, and they essentially all tell me, if you're not going to devote your life to it, invest in ETFs. Spread across everything, you'll do perfectly fine. Diversification is very important. I think a lot of people, they think it's glamorous to make an investment and get rich. And I mean, again, going back to cryptocurrency, a lot of people put in some money and it turned into 100 times that money and they think they're geniuses. Whereas in reality, they're just lucky. And then whenever their money goes from, 100x down to 5x, they get sad and depressed. And then they don't have any money anymore. And it's a tough thing, right? I think it's very important to give yourself potential upside, which is why, someone here said invest 1% in highly volatile things. I think it's actually a very good idea. But imagine you have like $100 to your name, you can put $1 in it, right? It doesn't work. Do you think there's a lot of collusion in live poker games? No. And if there is, it doesn't even matter all that much in no limit hold'em. The effects of colluding in no limit hold'em are incredibly low. Because, how can you actually collude against someone? You can re-raise them out of the pot. Well, sometimes they just have the nuts, and then you lose a ton of money. One thing I have learned about investments, I have sidestepped a few bad ones. I've gotten crushed by a few bad ones when I was younger, is you really don't want to invest in something when it is hot. If everyone's talking about something, if everything is all hype, you don't want it. Very often you want to be staying away from it. Quite often you want to be buying things when everyone is very negative about it. Cryptocurrency is the most recent one, right? When Bitcoin was 20K or whatever it was, everyone was hyped up over it. They were all in. And then it wasn't. Now that it went down to 3,500 or whatever it went down to, everyone's sad and depressed. It might actually not be the worst time to get into it. I'm not telling you to. This is not investment advice. We're not giving investment advice. But you want to be buying into things when it is in the absolute dumpster. I got hosed on gold a long time ago. I say a long time ago, 10 years ago, something like that. Gold was all the hype because the U.S. government was printing money left and right, which they still are, I guess. But people don't seem to care. Maybe they will one day. But we bought a pile of gold, and gold then tanked. And I say tanked, we lost like 50%. Again, the swings are going to be less volatile and things like that in general. But even then, 50% is kind of a lot, right? The problem with a lot of things like Bitcoin, like gold, like any investment that does not spin off money, dividends, is that, well, it doesn't spin off dividends. Another problem with things like gold and Bitcoin is that they continuously make more of them, right? More gold gets mined each year, more Bitcoins get mined each day, right? And that depreciates you. Obviously, I know Bitcoin is not, it's not an inflationary thing. I get this, right? We've done our research. Do we have the book back here? Look, everyone, we do our study, okay? We're not random fish over here. We do our study. Everyone thinks I don't do my study. We do our study. And it's important to realize that just because something is hot does not mean it is good. Just because something has succeeded for people does not mean it's good. It's very, very important to step back And also look at history, right? What has happened in history? Anytime anything's spiking, you don't want to be in it. That is very, very clear. So if something is spiking, if something is very clearly on the uptick, that's when you need to be out of it. When things are kind of low, when they are in the trough, that's typically when you want to be buying in. I'm actually kind of nervous at the moment because a lot of my money is in ETFs, and the stock market's very high. I'm tempted to pull it out, but I'm not because, again, talking to all the hedge fund managers, you really don't want to be out of the market ever, essentially. If you're out of the market just for the 3 or 4 best days of the year, you have like no returns then, and it's very difficult to time these things. However, I can definitely tell you when things are spiking, you don't want to be in there. Anytime your plan is to get rich off of an investment, it's likely very high risk. That is definitely true. Isn't Doug Polk really into Bitcoin? I don't know what other people are really into. I do not speculate on that. But yeah, it's important to realize that some investments are volatile, but volatile does not necessarily mean bad. If they are volatile, though, you want to make sure you proper very good bankroll management. Which is why, I think it's not bad to have a ton of your money into ETFs, the whole market, right? If you own the whole market will not crash. The whole market may go down 20%, but that's like doom and gloom when it goes down 20%. Whereas things like, well, cryptocurrencies, again, they could just go to zero. Investing in angel investments, right? Those could go to zero, which is why I'm not investing 100K in each one. I'm investing 3K or 10K in each one. And those are investments that are essentially like playing poker, right? You go and you buy into a poker tournament. I'm happy to buy into a poker tournament for 5K or 10K. And if it goes to zero, it's fine. I know it's probably going to go to zero. But every once in a while, you win the tournament and you get rich. You say a 20% swing is nothing for most poker players. Yeah, that is definitely true. Poker players are definitely desensitized to swings in general, which I think makes them generally better inclined to make slightly riskier investments. But at the same time, it makes them a little bit reckless. So you have to be very careful being reckless. I mean, I have that problem with being reckless. If I think something's good, I'll load into it. I don't care. But it's very important to realize what you're signing up for. And a lot of people don't realize what they are signing up for. What do I think about Bitcoin? I think it's too popular right now. Probably wait. To be fair, one of my friends, he told me, 3 years ago now, maybe 2 years ago now, someone who I did think is an expert in these things. He essentially said, wait till Bitcoin gets to 3,500 and then load in. And I think it finally just got there recently, and then it spiked back up from there. So I did not load in when it was infinite because we're just hanging out and waiting, you know? But even then, it's all speculation, right? It's pure speculation. And the problem is when everyone's speculating, when there aren't very many use cases for things, that's a big problem, right? Whenever you're buying into stocks, realize stocks are essentially buying a piece of a company that does something useful in the world. At the moment, it is very, very clear that cryptocurrency is not doing much useful in the world. It will one day. It probably will one day. But it certainly isn't now. Think about what happened if you invested in the internet 15 years ago, right? Maybe 15 years ago is the wrong time. 25 years ago, right when it was first getting started. What happened if you invested in the internet back then? Well, no one saw any return for 15 years from then. So imagine we're 4 or 5 years into cryptocurrency. We may not see anything happen for another 10 or 15 years in terms of actual use cases. And that's a problem. I'm sure everyone says, yeah, you can buy things with Bitcoin. Sure, but no one does, right? There's certainly some out there, some cryptocurrencies that are useful. There's the Brave token. We have some of those. Essentially, that is a web browser that pays you in tokens in exchange for not showing you, you pay people for their content in exchange for not seeing ads. So basically, if you go to Jonathan Lowell's website using the Brave browser, they will give me one token, and one token is worth 40 cents. Maybe they'll give you 0.001 token. I don't know what it is. But anyway, they'll give you some tokens in exchange for you not ever seeing any ads. And that's a way for you to reward the content creators you like without, essentially for the budget you want. And you can say, I want to spend X amount of money per month. Say I want to spend $5 on giving back to the content creators, and they'll give it to them. And I think that's a good use case, right? And turns out, that's one of the cryptocurrencies that's doing well. Who would have thought? The one that actually does something is doing well. And that's really it, is a lot of them are just purely not useful. And if they are going to be useful, it's going to take them forever. Do you think you can get some advice on the meeting I'm going to today with my friends about investing in startups? I'm not sure what advice you want. It's presented by Jason Calacanis. He has a Twitter page. I'm sure you can go there and find it. You need to invest in something to make the chairs of the World Series more comfortable. Yeah, some people carry around butt cushions, and I don't see a problem with that. Some of the best players, they have this thing that looks like a saddle, and they sit in the saddle when they play poker, and they claim it's really good for them. It probably is. Maybe I should carry around a saddle this year. So investing in yourself. What else can you do to invest in yourself, especially when you're first getting started? Because I realize a lot of people here don't have $20,000 to play poker with, right? You're still in the grinded up stage. And what can you do to better yourself? Well, first things first, you can make your mind as good as you possibly can. That means studying things, reading books, listening to classical music, not getting drunk and high. It can mean working out, right? Working out your body. These are all things that are very close to free that will make you more receptive to the good things that come into your life. Mr. James just walked by. He looks very unhappy. Avoid negativity. Avoid nonsense, right? There is so much nonsense in this world. So ask yourself, do I need this in my life right now? Maybe you do, maybe you don't, but it's up to you to decide that, right? And, for example, I had to do that with Magic the Gathering. I love Magic the Gathering, but I'd ask, do I need this in my life right now with 2 little kids and a job doing this for all of you and playing poker, et cetera, et cetera? And the answer is no, I just don't need this in my life right now. Okay? So you get rid of it. Didn't want to get rid of it, but I needed to get rid of it, right? You need to manage relationships inside and outside of poker. Yeah, that's definitely true. That's very, very important. I was very bad at that as a young kid, but I think I've gotten a little bit better. But you want to invest in yourself to make yourself smart, essentially. Whenever I first started playing poker, I was not smart. I was just not a very smart, intelligent person. I was capable of learning, but at the same time, I had no, like you said, emotional intelligence, and I had to learn. I learned a lot from Bill Seymour, my first poker coach, to have a strong mindset. He's essentially a very, very stoic guy. He probably, I don't think he ever said the word stoicism to me, but he's a very stoic guy, and I think that's very useful. What else? Well, you can study a lot of books, right? Study books, study training videos. Study poker, right? If you want to get good at poker, study poker. Get good at poker. We have our World Series of Poker coaching bundle going on right now. Go to pokercoaching.com/WSOP. WSOP bundle. If you go to pokercoaching.com/WSOP, by the way, we're giving away 5 seats to the Big 50. I'm sorry, 3 seats to the Big 50. Only three. Only $1,500 for free for all of you. You go to pokercoaching.com/WSOP to sign up for that. Getting into free rolls, if they take you literally no time and literally no effort, is probably ideal. Like right now, all of you are sitting here watching this on the internet. Go to pokercoaching.com/WSOP, and I don't know what your equity is. It may be only $1 or 10 cents or who knows what it is, but it's completely free, right? And I'm happy to give away that money because I'm in a position to do so. Do you believe in giving more to receive more? Depends on what you're giving, right? If you are giving value, you will receive more. If you are giving nonsense, no, you're not going to receive more. Where in the USA is the best place to grind cash? I don't know. I think a lot of local casinos are quite good. Stone's Gambling Hall in Sacramento, California, right? They have amazing cash games there. In Los Angeles, the games are great. In Florida, the games are great. Small stakes, medium stakes, live cash games are amazingly soft. But if you provide value, people will give back. I'm a good example of that, right? I have written these books back here. Took a lot of time, a lot of effort. I made pokercoaching.com. I put together this World Series bundle, right? I'm providing immense value to all of you. And the purpose of that is to help you out and give you a way to spend a little bit of money, like $100 for this World Series bundle, and you're going to make way more than that off of it. So it's a no-brainer. If you are going to play the World Series and invest $3,000 even in tournament buy-ins, you'd be kind of silly not to study to give yourself a way better chance to succeed. And if you provide value, people will definitely give back to you. If I was trying to say I want $10,000 for this bundle, well then, probably I'm not going to get a whole lot of buyers, right? And also, if I provided bad content, so many people out there wonder why they don't succeed. It's because their content doesn't actually help. It's not actually useful. So many poker players out there who are great players make content, and their content is either very bland, very boring, or very, very high level and technical. And that's not understandable by the wide portion of poker players who want to get better, right? So you always have to ask who you're talking to. And someone said today on Twitter that I'm very good at talking about poker to anyone on any level. And I don't know how I developed that skill, but I think it is true. I think that mainly comes from understanding who you're talking to and understanding that my goal is not to sound smart or stroke my ego. My goal is to help you, right? And you help people by giving them information they can understand and then apply. Let's see. Some players drop a lot of money on slots during the 10-minute break. Yeah, so many poker players, especially during the World Series. You'll see them just out banging on slot machines or gambling at blackjack, whatever, and it's ridiculous. DP says empathy. Yeah, empathy is an interesting thing. I never really viewed myself as all that empathetic of a person, but I think as I've aged, I have become that. I think I'm pretty good at understanding what people are going through in life, what possesses them to do the things that they do. I mean, for example, whenever someone is mean and malicious towards you, or towards anyone, what's actually going on? Very often they feel slighted. They feel angry. They feel jealous, right? And those are responses of people who do not have high emotional intelligence. And that's okay, right? Everyone's not going to have high emotional intelligence. I certainly didn't as a young kid. And that results in you acting poorly. And that's not good. Whenever people love you, why do they love you? I know a lot of you out here love me. You come and you watch me drink coffee every morning. Why do you love me? Well, it's because I have added value, right? I have helped you. And that's good, right? It's important to understand why people do the things they do. And if you do understand why they do what they do, that will help you channel your efforts into things that are beneficial. And I try to be beneficial. All right, let's see. You're a poker coaching student. Your next tournament is the short-handed Swedish Championship. Nice. What are the best courses besides the advanced six-handed with Olivier Bousquet? Matt Affleck has a good one that you can get. What else? Listen, if you send me an email, I'll actually go through them and look. I don't know all the content I have because we have so incredibly much. Look for anything about hand reading. I know there's one where I played a four-handed tournament. Something about pinpointing and exploiting weak players. That would be a good one for you, where I won a four-handed tournament online where one of the players was just like really bad. And this guy who was really bad was crushing everyone else, but I realized what the guy was doing wrong, and then I just like maximally exploited them and won all that money off the guy. So pinpointing and exploiting weak players would be a very good one, especially if it's shorthanded, because that video is all a four-handed tournament. Nonso says you love me. Well, I love all of you too. You love me, but you're not buying me dinner. Well, that's okay. I'm actually buying all of you breakfast at the World Series of Poker. I'm having 2 breakfasts for the members of PokerCoaching.com. We do this every year. Last year, I think we had about 40 people at one of them, so that was a little bit big. But hey, I'm happy to spend $1,000 for your breakfast. I do not mind. That makes me happy. I mean, right? Like giving away the World Series seats to the Big 50. I am happy to do that because you all give to me. And I'm happy to help. So anyway, if you're a Poker Coaching member, we'll be sending out an email to that. There will be 2 of them, one at the beginning, one at the end, because I know people are going to be there at different times, right? Let's see. The fact that you were generally trying to help you by giving your time matters a lot. It definitely draws people to you. Yeah, I mean, that's part of it. I try to be accessible, right? I know that people who I like, look up to, admire, love, they are happy to give their time and they're happy to give their knowledge, right? And I never really thought about it like that, but I have essentially tried to do that, right? I tried to give my time to people who want to better their lives, and I try to give my knowledge on the things that I know about. You'll actually find I don't talk about a whole lot that's not poker related or money related like today. And that's because I don't actually have immense experience in it. I am not the professional. It's very important to make sure whoever you are listening to does not act like a professional on things they do not fully understand. The tough thing, though, is that a lot of people think they understand things and they don't. And that's where a lot of misinformation comes from. I mean, you look at a lot of the poker content on YouTube. So many people out there think they know what they're talking about, but they don't. A good example is like online poker in America, right? I've gotten a little bit of crap for making a video saying that you need to be very cautious playing on the online sites that operate within America that are not licensed by these states. And these people have not been through it. They don't understand. They're too young. And that's okay. They have never been crushed or had their money locked up for a long time. And that's a problem. So whenever you hear people spreading misinformation, you have to realize those people are out to help themselves and they are not looking after you. It's tough because I could envision a world where when I was a young person that I would have essentially been okay with saying, yes, you should play on these sites if that site's paying me money. And that's not good. It's not good. It's a tough thing. But I understand the situation these people are in, and I understand their thoughts and logic because they want the sites to stay soft, right? They don't want me telling all of you to be very careful with your money. Again, going back to investing, right? It would be really, really, really dumb of you to have lots of money in a site that is not regulated by the United States. That'd be really, really dumb. Well, I'll say not the United States, but regulated by a major entity. Like, for example, I'll have tons of money in Party Poker and Poker Stars, and I do not care. They're not going to take it. I feel very, very good about that. If it's in WorldSeriesOfPoker.com, right, or Borgata.com, or Party Poker in New Jersey, or whatever, I have plenty of money. I would be comfortable having plenty of money there, and I would not be worried about it in the least bit. But if you are going to play on the other sites, you need to be very careful because I've seen so many people hosed. I mean, everyone's gotten hosed. My parents have gotten hosed. My father-in-law's gotten hosed. I've gotten hosed. And a lot of people just don't realize it. When is the breakfast going to be? One at the beginning of the series, one at the end. We will be sending an email to the poker coaching members soon. I need to write that down. Let's get out the notepad. Send email about breakfast. Okay, good. Let's see, what else? Are the online sites rigged? I definitely don't think any of the online sites are rigged. I don't know. I have no proof one way or the other. But I highly doubt they are because they don't need to be. It'd be really dumb to be rigged. It'd be really, 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 really dumb to be rigged. WorldSeriesPoker.com will take your dollars if you don't play for over a year. I don't know if that's true or not, but if that's true, understand the rules, right? Like I said, keep 2 buy-ins in these sites if you are going to play. I think some people try to misconstrue me saying that a lot of these sites are not safe to keep your money in as me saying I'm against online poker or something like this, and that's definitely not true. I am highly for online poker. What I am against are people getting crushed by making poor monetary decisions. And believe it or not, I actually tell all of my students who live in America to play on these sites for small amounts of money. Realize you're playing not to try to win all the money. You're playing to get experience. And I definitely suggest all of you out there, put $50 in an online site and play online poker. It doesn't even matter which site it is, as long as there are games running, because that is how you are going to be, that's how you're going to improve your skills, right? It's very important to put in volume playing online. How big is my team running PokerCoaching.com? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I have 6 people besides myself. Not counting the content creators. If you count those, we have more like 10 or 12. Not 10. 10 people out the door. I don't know, something like that. Have you ever had to go to court over money I've loaned someone? No. Fortunately, I have not been hosed too bad by loaning money. One time I did get screwed. As a young kid, I was playing Magic the Gathering with a guy named Brian. And Brian was an okay poker player, a good Magic player. He essentially proposed, hey, if you buy me a computer, I'll grind sit and goes. So, and then I'll give you half the profit. So essentially I'd be backing him, right? So I bought him a $500 computer. I put $300 in his poker account. And then the next day moved to Texas and I never heard from him again. So he got me. That was a good lesson. $500 out the door. And now I don't lend money. You just got poker coaching. You don't see any tutorials or videos. Go to homework challenges, and the quizzes. Also, you'll have some bonus stars. Those are under the rewards. You can use those to get whatever you want. Is playing online important if you have plenty of volume playing live? No, not as much, but I would definitely say that, think about it, right? You can go sit down and play online a cash game for like an hour and play, 60 hands? That's like playing an hour and a half or 2 hours of live. So you just get in way more hands. And then if you play 4 tables at a time, now you're playing like a day's worth of poker in an hour. And seeing that occur, or seeing that number of hands will be very, very beneficial for you. Just bought a bunch of my books on Audible. Which one should you read first? Probably Secrets to Professional Tournament Poker 1 and 2, then Excelling, then Bluffs. Read the Strategies PDF first, too. That's a nice, easy thing to do. Is it possible to do everything right and lose, and run bad for months or even years? Probably not years. But again, it depends on how much volume you're playing, right? If you play once a month, yeah, you can run bad 20 years because you're not playing any. If you're playing 40 hours a week, well then, no, you're probably not going to lose for a year. Depends on the game, though, right? Maybe there's a high variance. If you play something like PLO, where variance is through the roof, and if you're playing in relatively tough games, yeah, you can lose for a year. Even if you're playing a lot. Live is way softer. It is true. Live is way softer. That is definitively accurate. Jack says, you bought the World Series of Poker package last night, went through a couple hours of videos. Really great value for $99. Thank you. I mean, listen, I tried to provide all of you a value. I want to make you learning from me a no-brainer. And listen, if you're playing 1-2 no limit, you should probably spend $100 on education because that you're essentially investing tons and tons of money, right? Multiple hundreds of dollars every time you play. And if you don't know what you're doing, you're giving it away, right? If you can spend a little bit of money, a little bit of time, improving your skills, investing in yourself, that will make you way, way, way better. Anyway, you can get that bundle, by the way, at pokercoaching.com/WSOP bundle. Go there, check it out. It's only going to be available for a little while, but lots and lots of value for anyone going to the World Series of Poker or anyone who plays tournaments in general who is looking to improve their skills. Ravenson, I'm not sure what you're saying. Essentially, if you buy any of my products that are downloadable videos, you can download them and keep them forever. Some of the things are memberships, like Prime Mind you just mentioned. You can go to jonathanlowpoker.com/primedmind. Those videos you get as a bonus, you can download and keep forever. But Prime Mind, I believe, is a year subscription, so it expires after a year. You want to have a poker coaching mug. Poker coaching mug's a good idea. I should get that. Given we have a little coffee here, this seems like a pretty good branding space, does it not? We should probably do something like that. But I like this mug. It makes me happy. All right, if you're the best player at 2-5 and there's 5-10 going with only 2 bad players, would it be better to play 2-5? It depends on the game, right? If 2-5 is just a bunch of decent regs, well then, no, clearly go play the bigger game. Very often if there's a bigger game, sometimes the game will be soft, and if the game's soft, you should definitely do it. Put a patch on the mug. That's genius. You know what? You all are smart. Where can you find the World Series special? I'll type it right here. pokercoaching.com/WSOP bundle. There you go. Also, to get the to get entered to your chance to win 3 World Series, 1 of 3 Big 50 seats to the World Series of Poker, go to pokercoaching.com/WSOP. All right, I have to get going. I have to go to the class today to learn, right? Invest in yourself. Continue to grow your mind, grow your skills. And as your skills grow and expand, your potential earning will expand. Very often your happiness will expand. And your knowledge base will expand. And that will allow you to communicate better with people. It will allow you to make better decisions. And it will allow you to help more people better their lives. So that's it for today. Are there videos in the World Series bundle discussing exploiting particular players? Absolutely. Absolutely. Go check that out. That is a lot of what it is. Can you make it easier to download all the videos at once? That's probably not going to change. Sorry if you have to click download a few times. That's going to be it. Hope you have a good time. Hope you enjoy yourselves. Good luck. Have fun. What am I studying? We're studying angel investing today with Jason Calacanis, who wrote the book Angels. I thoroughly enjoyed it. If you're interested in startup investing, it's a great book. Here it is. Nice, solid book. Isn't that a pretty cover? It's like a weird cover, but it's a pretty cover. It's genius. Anyway, we're going to go study from him today. Hope y'all have a great day. Good luck. Enjoy yourselves. We'll be back on Friday, bright and early, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Be nice. Have fun. Good luck. Enjoy yourselves. I'll talk to you.